Hey guys, it's Sam. Welcome back to another episode of Parking is So Difficult in LA. Shooting Cinestill 800t during the day. It rhymes. I don't think we're gonna make it. It's too difficult to park today. If you don't already know what Cinestill 800t is, where have you been? In the past few months, we made a couple of Cinestill 800t video. We've shot some street stuff, we shot some night portrait, we pushed it to 3200 ISO, and this whole time I've been really curious how this film would look during the day. Cinestill 800t, the T stands for tungsten. The color balance of this film is around 3200 Kelvin, so it's bluer. And today we're going to do another test shoot. Let's find out if this film is good for daytime portraiture. And this is our model for the day, Janice. We found each other on the internet, as usual. We are at Manhattan Beach. Well, we're at a parking lot right now, but we're going to Manhattan Beach. We met up around Manhattan Beach about 4 p.m. afternoon. The weather was beautiful. We decided to walk around the town before we head to the pier. The first photo came out different. Alright, before we go any further, we should talk about my scanning and converting process. This step will affect how your film look. I think it's very important to understand the color you see from this film in this video. It's my own interpretation of Cinestill. Let me explain. After I scan my film negative, I convert them with Negative Lab Pro. I'll link my home scanning process video up there if you want to see my full process. When I convert the negative, there are a few preset color files you can choose. For example, let's look at this picture. The default convert would look like this. If we come down to the white balance option, you can see there are a bunch of preset color balance. You can choose one according to what film stock you're using. This step determines the base color of your photo. So if I choose Cinestill T, it can look a bit green. I can also choose Kodak, even this is not a Kodak film. Or if I don't like any of these presets, I can also manually adjust the midtone, the highlight, and the shadow all separately to get the exact color I want. And then I wonder, should we always stick with how this film's supposed to look like and select the matching film preset? If we can shift the color in post, does choosing different film stock when taking photos really matter besides the speed and the latitude? Am I overthinking? Since we're shooting on Cinestill 800t, I kinda want to make the photo look a little blue, so I left the color balance at natural. Some people suggesting using a yellow filter to correct the color balance when taking photo during the day, but I think that kind of defeats the purpose of using this film stock. Why not just use Kodak 800 then? Oh well, sometimes you just cannot find Kodak 800 anywhere on the market in that case. And also, if you want, you can always adjust the white balance to make it look warmer in the editing process. But I understand some people don't edit their film photo at all, so the choices are yours. Alright, let's go back to the first photo. You can see a lot blue in the shadow, but I do like how the skin tone looks. Very low saturation, a bit washed. The slight halation around her make her glowing. I like that effect. When I was scanning, I noticed that we were actually standing in front of a photography shop. And this video is brought to you by... They did not pay me to say that. This is a shot to see how color looks in direct sunlight. And this is a shot to see how it handles the contrast of light and shadow. As color goes, I really think it's a personal preference. Some people may say the skin tone looks too desaturated and too pale, but I like it. This is the look I'm going for. This is a shot I really struggled with the color choice because the Cinestill preset color looks pretty nice too. But to keep the consistency of the whole set of the photo, I left it in the blue tone. Which one do you like more?
往这边来一点吧，站在这个阴影光斑这边。哎，对，就这儿。
I really like these two shots. It's nice and fresh, like drinking a couple of ice bubbling water in a hot summer afternoon. I used to not like direct sunlight, or should I say, I used to afraid of shooting in direct sunlight. But since film handles highlight really nicely and the shadow falls off softer, I start to enjoy shooting in direct sunlight.
放在脸旁边吗？哦，这样也好看，这样也可爱。Look at me. Ridiculous. Having so many things on me right now.
As an 800 speed film, this photo actually looks pretty smooth in daylight, especially in direct sunlight. Up until this shot, I almost forgot we're shooting on 800 speed film. But since this shot is backlit, you can see some noticeable green in the shadow. And at the same spot, when you give it more light, it looks less greeny. So far, the halation is not bad. I kind of like it to begin with. That's one of the reasons I like to shoot with Cinestill films. But during the day, you rarely catch much noticeable halation.
So the model is holding the bounce board and I'm holding the bounce board. But it does make a difference. Shooting by yourself. What happened?
These couple of shots came out really nicely as well. I like the different shade of the blue in the sky and the ocean. Simple and clean. By the end of the row, I took a couple of more shots backlit. Now the halation finally comes in play. I really like how the sunlight hit the water and it bounces back on her with this dreamy looking orange glow. Since this is my first time shooting Cinestill 800t during the day, I wasn't sure how it's gonna turn out, so I decided to shoot one more row. All the photos you just saw were shot on my trusty Canon 1V and mostly on a 50mm prime lens.
Kind of thinking about if I should shoot another roll of Fuji Extra 400 or shoot another roll of Gold 120. Alright, how about this? Hold on.
I let the model blindly pick which roll we're gonna be shooting next.
Alright, left and right.
Left.
Left? Alright, we're gonna shoot another roll.
And seems like Destiny picked Kodak Gold. I like this film stock. Alright, I know you clicking into this video to see Cinestill during the day, but don't you want to see how Kodak Gold looks like at the same location and to see 35mm versus media format? What did I say? It's an adventure! You never know where Sam gonna go. And here you go, Kodak 200 shot on Pentax 645. Instantly, you can see how much finer the green turns out and how soft the depth of field falls off and how dirty this pier is. Clean up, Manhattan. This photo was shot at 2.8 on the 75mm lens. I also took another shot at f8 just to see the differences. Because I heard this lens performs the best at f8, not sure if it's true, but this one is also shot at f8. It's quite sharp, I have to say. And this is one of my favorite shots from this photo shoot. I think this photo really showed me the beauty of medium format. When I put this photo at full screen on my 27-inch monitor, I can just look at this photo for a long time. This photo makes me want to shoot more medium format. Looking at this photo reminded me what I love so much about portraiture when I see that one split moment that I feel I can somewhat connect it to this person in front of me, in front of the camera. It's a magical moment. When I find that thin thread, like a demon slayer. That's a bad analogy. And our Bright Day Cinestill 800t test ended here. But don't go yet.
The sun is down. I don't think we're gonna make it. It's too difficult to park today. It's Sunday.
I wanted to go to a nearby beach to take some more shots during the sunset hour, but it took us way too long to find parking. By the time we got to where I wanted to shoot, the sun was setting, we were running, it was chaotic. This time I had a tripod with me though. We still have a couple of shots left from the Kodak 200 roll, so we have to finish that before we shoot another roll of Cinestill.
Oh, it's so pretty right now. Oh my god, we're gonna miss it. Alright, you know what? Let's stop here. Stop here. 就站这边。啊，就站这儿吧，就站这儿。
I'm quite happy with how this photo turned out. I was worried about 200 ISO, it's too slow. The first one was shot at 2.8 at 1/8 of a second. It is a little bit out of focus and a little bit blurry. The second and third one came out really nicely. I feel like those photos might look better if I brought my bounce board and just added a little fill on her. But oh well, we're in a rush.
We're making it. We are making it. We can do it. Ah, close. What? No. No. Wait, how did they get through? You know what? We'll do it here. We'll do it right here.
And by the time I finally loaded up another roll of Cinestill in my medium format camera, we barely have any natural light left. And my tripod is a really cheap plastic light-weighted one. And by this point, I haven't started using the mirror lockup function yet, not to say using a cable release. So some of these photos came out really shaky and really blurry.
The sunset looks amazing right now. I mean, the sunset does look amazing, but we don't have any light on our model. Hopefully we'll get a silhouette.
I like this shot. I exposed it for the sky and tried to get a silhouette. This one was shot at f2.8, then I took another shot at f8 as experiment, try to see the differences. But I mean, it's very dark. At this point, it's difficult to see. At this point, it's too dark to continue shooting at the pier, so we decided to walk around and find some street light to finish the roll. These photos are all shot at very, very low shutter speed, so I have to keep asking her to stay very, very still. The sky looks very pretty at this point. We have some house light hitting the sand and the street light hitting her, and you see this tree casting this pointy shadow at the corner. I'm so bummed. The camera shook a little bit and this shot came out not as sharp. I was so tempted to just go back and recreate this shot after I see the scanning. Alright, we are wrapped. We totally didn't film any behind the scene for the second half, but we tried something new. I was using a tripod. Guys, I was finally using a tripod this time. I'm so proud of myself. If you have been watching my video, you know I almost never use tripod because before I was shooting digital, I can always bump up the ISO. I almost never shot shutter speed below 1/100th of a second. But yet, when I start shooting film, when I have fixed ISO and sometimes really slow lens, it leaves me no choice to put the camera on the tripod, shooting, for example, this photo at 1 whole second of long exposure. But by doing so, I captured this beautiful scene I've never able to capture before. And then I realized having limitation is a good thing. It gets me out of my comfort zone, forces me to change my shooting habit, to see things from different angle and break through some barriers I set to limit myself. Shooting film is fun, go try it! I don't have behind the scene footage for the rest of the roll. They came out not in focus anyway. After the shoot, I looked into how to minimize camera shakiness and learned how to use the mirror lockup function, and also got myself a cable release. So even though parking took too long and we didn't get to shoot what we planning on shoot, instead we did some night portrait and many of them came out blurry and not good. But still, I think overall this is a very successful test shoot because we learned something new. Did you learn something new? Alright, this is it for this week's video. If you're still here till the end, thank you for your time. I know we trailed off from testing Cinestill during the day halfway through, but welcome to Nothing Ever Goes as Planned with Sam. I will see you next time. Bye. Shh. Oh my god, this time camera's really far away from me. And meet my new friend Yaya. We met Yaya in New York. Yaya, tell them to like this video and subscribe. No? You too shy? That's okay. Just say, like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.